Hello, and welcome back to Raza Chats, the Raza podcast. Today I'm here with Vishnu Priya, who some of you may know. She's a Raza superhero. And Vishnu, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi Rachel and hello world. So I am Vishnu Priya. I'm a conversational AI researcher working for Proven Solutions. So my work involves with AI solutions in the NLP domain. So it's kind of a research and development work that I'm involved in.
And
So that's
just to mention that something Vishnu told me earlier, we're recording this on Diwali, so if you hear any bangs in the background, they're just celebratory sounds. Um, Yeah, so I think the thing that you're probably best known for in the Raza community is running the Chennai meetup. You want to talk a little bit about how the meetup got started and what led you to create it?
yeah. So it was something related to Google Own, not exactly Google Home.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was something related to Google that I was working on. And the one thing that I was curious about was to know what was happening at the back. So this prompted me to go to a universe called GitHub, and then I stumbled upon Rasa there. So while I went through the code, I was able to see how the code was really working. So for that, I had to learn Python as well because my background is that I am a mechanical engineering graduate, so I didn't have much idea about the conversational AI as such. So I had to learn Python to decipher the code. So while I was going through the code and deciphering it, one thing that caught my attention was the Rasa contributor board.
Hmm.
So it was like, it went like something like you can also contribute to Rasa. So that was something exciting for me. So I wanted to, I did not want to miss the chance of being one of the contributors to the code base. So it was my first ever contribution with Rasa. So something related to HTTP duckling. It was a very easy issue because my limited Python knowledge meant that I couldn't try out a medium or a tough issue. So when I was solving these and when I was going through all the issues and PRs, one thing that stood out was the community members were helping each other to solve their issues, and they were discussing what ideas they had. They were sharing their thoughts. So my immediate reaction at the end of the first PR was, what if I can create a platform for my city people to share their thoughts and to help others, and why not a platform for that? So that's how the Rasa Chennai community chapter was born. And I thought the best way to go about it, because of the pandemic situation that we
Hmm.
have and also the limited resources that I had at that time, was to have a meetup based system where everyone could talk and share their views and collaborate with each other. So yeah, that's the brief story of how Rasa Chennai chapter was born.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's a wonderful example of how open source can really be, a powerful way to help people continue their journeys in their careers and learn new skills and sounds like make new friends. Would you want to talk a little bit about Chennai? Like, what's the tech scene there like? I've never been, but I hear it's lovely.
Yeah, the what I've heard is completely true. It's a lovely tech scene and also a beautiful city to be in general as well. So yeah, the tech scene is growing here in terms of AI, especially because people are even I didn't get to know the intensity and the spread of it till I started the community chapter. Because when I first had this idea of starting the chapter, or when I first thought how it would pan out, one thing that always was running in my mind was, would people be able to perceive this, or will I be able to reach out to the maximum people that I can? But surprisingly, I found that many people are already involved in this and are very much interested to get involved in conversational AI, Rasa in particular. So yeah, definitely the tech scene is amazing here, and it's definitely going to increase further. Definitely.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So you mentioned that you sort of got into chatbots and conversational AI in general through your sort of more voice based work. So I'm interested to hear, what is it that you like about chatbots, which I realize sounds like a little bit of a weird question, but um, I think that there's a lot of perception of chatbots and conversational AI and maybe like the last 5-10 years that like, oh, they're not good, I don't like using them. They're not like a good technology. This is things that people have said to me, knowing that I work on chatbots. So I'm always interested to hear what other people who are also working on chatbots, what draws you to the technology.
So one thing that I would definitely tell that attracted me towards conversational AI is that it has the ability to mimic a human. I mean,
Mm,
how amazing is that?
mm,
uh, Especially natural language that a human speaks. There are certain fields related to capturing human actions or something like that, but something that captures human language, I think that itself, the thought and the idea itself is amazing,
mm.
which brought me to the field. And what I would say with my experience regarding chatbots till now is that it definitely has the capacity to overtake a lot of problems that the humans are facing now. Especially what I am envisioning is that it can also handle emotional intelligence going forward. So we can also have somebody like, when we are alone in a city, or when, for example, if we take our grandparents who are alone and want to, spend time with someone, I think chatbots will come definitely handy in that, in case it handles emotional intelligence much better. So we are all anyway having a mechanical life and running around, so we would definitely need a companion which would just listen to us, without judging.
Mm.
With humans usually judge. That's what I believe in. So, but chatbots don't. So that's a one another major advantage that chatbots and conversational AI have going forward.
Yeah, it's sort of like emotional supportive role. I know this is very much not an area that I know a lot about, but I do know that there's quite a bit of work in Japan on using sort of like robotic caregivers to help particularly older people who are lonely. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
anything that tries to alleviate problems
Hmm.
faced by humans. Yeah, and I think chatbot definitely stands among the top in that field. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there's lots of applications for conversational AI that I don't know don't tend to necessarily always be at the top of people's minds. Um, I'm curious. I tend to get a lot of questions about creating chatbots in different languages, and I have sort of like knowledge about different languages, but the language other than English that I know the best is not written or spoken. So it's not super helpful for text-based chatbots. And I'm wondering if you have any experience working with languages besides English, and do you have any tips or pointers you might want to share?
Yeah, sure. So, other than English, I've been working on Arabic related chatbots, Arabic NLP, and also I'm working on some Indic chatbots as well, like Tamil, Telugu, and Hindi. I just want to leverage the advantage I have over the knowledge of the language, so that I can try to contribute somewhat to that extent. But yeah, there's definitely a long way to go ahead for multilingual chatbots as such, in the sense that it understands whatever the user says. To have an exceptionally good chatbot, I think we have a really long way to go in terms of multilingual. But I think in terms of English, that's not the case. We already have a lot of industry benchmark chatbots available already. But in case of multilingual, research is going on. So one of my works also involved that, to align the research with the industry to have a benchmark set up for a multilingual chatbot. So, in that sense, I would say we really have a long way to go, and we are going in the right direction anyway with the Indic NLP library getting released. I'm really glad that people are contributing and open sourcing it basically, because if it was not open source, then I think there's no way to for other perspectives to gain momentum in that scenario. So yeah, definitely we are going in the right direction, and we also have a lot to do. That.
Yeah, I would agree. There's English gets a lot of attention, but it turns out most people don't speak English. So I'm always delighted to hear about work on other languages. And you mentioned the Indic NLP library is going to be released. Do you want to share a little bit more information about that?
Sure, Rachel. I have not too deeper into that, but what I have seen is that a person has. I'm sorry if I don't remember the name, but he has open sourced the Indic NLP library, which has tokenizers and featureizers for Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, and other stuff. So it's getting improved version wise. So I guess the latest version has been uploaded 2 to 3 months ago, if I'm not wrong. So that would give a way for us to utilize it and increase on that and build chatbots using Rasa as a framework. And why I'm mentioning Rasa here is that we have the ability to have custom components here. So one thing that we can do is that we can make use of the Indic NLP library, take the tokenizers, featureizers, and build a custom component, and we can try out how a chatbot will be. And that's the way I think to go forward in terms of chatbots with Indic NLP.
Yeah, I think that's sounds like a really interesting tool set. I should definitely learn more about that. And for people who are not super familiar with the language situation in India, it's extremely diverse. There's many different languages spoken, and they're also, many of them aren't very related to each other. So you know how, like, if you're familiar with, for example, Spanish and French, there's a lot of sort of overlap between those languages. There's not as much overlap between many of the languages of India.
True, Rachel. So as far as I know, even I'm not sure, being an Indian, and this is a very sad state of affairs, I think, because even I'm not sure because of the diversity that it has. Even the number of official languages is, I think, more than 20. So, and the taking into tribal languages into consideration, we don't know anything about the tribal languages that exist. So, adding that, I think it might be between 1,000 or more than 1,000. Even I'm not sure. And yeah, that's, I would like to research more on that and know about it. So yeah, definitely it's a very diverse landscape, and it is kind of difficult to cater to all the audiences. Even in Tamil, which I think I know, I'm not sure though. So even in Tamil, we have different slangs based on the area that we come from. Like Chennai has a different slang, Coimbatore has a different slang. So there are dialects, there are slangs, a lot of things to handle. So yeah, you're really, you're true when you say that there is a lot of diversity, and the overlap is also, I think, very less. Even if there is a good amount of overlap, I think we can do something. But as far as I know, the overlap is also less. So yeah, there are a lot of challenges ahead in this field for NLP to cater to.
Yeah, definitely. It's, I don't know, I know that there's a lot of focus right now on sort of like big language models as being sort of like the exciting thing, but I would love to see more recognition of just the degree of complexity of handling very multilingual and very diverse languages.
Completely agree, Rachel.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you had any tips or advice for someone who is maybe interested in, starting to get involved in Rasa, whether that's, starting a meetup, which is, that's a lot. I don't actually run it anymore, but I did start a meetup here in Seattle, and it's a lot of work. So, huge props to you, Vishnu. Yeah. So what were your pointers for someone who's like, I'm kind of interested in Rasa, it sounds kind of cool. Maybe I want to contribute. What should they think about?
Yeah. Not to brag about, but one thing that I would definitely suggest people who are starting out with conversational AI or Rasa is to check out the masterclass videos and also the meetup videos that I'm planning to release soon, all the Chennai chapter meetup videos, and also your live coding videos, because your live coding videos deals with real problems. You also deal with how to come out of a problem, which is kind of what I feel is one of the inhibitions or obstacles for someone starting out with conversational AI. Because I also faced that when I started the first learning curve of my conversational AI journey. What hit me the most was when I was not able to solve an issue, when I was stuck with it for days and months sometimes. So yeah, that I would definitely suggest to go through the live coding videos to help that. It gives kind of a confidence that we can also come out of an issue. And one more thing that I would suggest definitely would be GitHub. Just looking out all the PRs and all the issues itself, and exploring the code related to each PR itself is kind of self-explanatory, and it kind of increases the confidence that once you start understanding what goes behind a framework or a technology, then you will be much more confident to give a leap of faith into it and explore it further. So yeah, this is what I would suggest for someone who is starting out with conversation.
Yeah, and it's especially like the GitHub issues. It's nice because you can just like see what the problem was. Usually there'll be like some discussion about different like ways that people could solve it, and then someone's like, "I wrote the code, please merge," and you can follow that process. And speaking of live coding, you've also done some live coding, right?
Yeah, it was just a one-off experience, and yeah, it ended with an issue. So, yeah,
Relatable.
that's what. Yeah, and that kind of, I'm kind of skeptical now to do a live coding, but yeah, I'm always up for challenges. So yeah, if given a chance, I would definitely go up for another live coding. But yeah, it was really, adrenaline rush kind of an experience when I was live coding, because I was always hoping that this shouldn't go wrong, that shouldn't go wrong, and I should also kind of explain side by side what's going on. So yeah, that was kind of, strangely intimidating and also exciting at the same time.
Yeah, I think that matches with my experience. It's definitely it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely much harder to live code than it is to write code by yourself, in my experience.
Yeah, it was something kind of a altogether different experience that I've never experienced in my life. Yeah, that's how our life coding was. Yeah, I would also encourage people to go forward and do life coding, because then they'll know what they are lagging behind in, and then they'll know where they are strong. So yeah,
Yeah, I think it can be a really good way to learn. Like a lot, like a really good way to learn. Um,
that's
so we've got just a couple minutes left, and I have it on good authority that there's something exciting coming up that you want to tell people about. So do you wanna pitch that?
Yeah, sure, Rachel. So, giving back to the community is what I would like to take forward with help with what I've been doing right now. So, in this regard, we have something exciting and something big coming up very soon. And you'll definitely hear from me and my friends back in India regarding this very soon. So, yeah, it's going to be something we are trying to do something different and creative at the same time. So, we are going to make full use of the pandemic situation that we have, hopefully. Yeah, so that's what is coming up. Just a sneak peek, so that we can the details will be released soon.
And if people wanted to keep an eye on that, what would be a good place to do that?
Right now, I'm planning to post it on my LinkedIn page or on the meetup page of the Raza Community Chennai chapter. So any of these, yeah, maybe I can also set up a. Yeah, I'll think of the different ways to reach out. Right now, I'm thinking of LinkedIn and the Rasa Community Chennai chapter meetup page.
Yeah, and also I think it'll be relevant to the Raza community. So please feel free to post about it on the Raza forum as well.
Sure, definitely. I'll do that as well. Thank you.
So keep an eye out for something exciting coming soon from Vishnu that I think will be really good. All right.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Was there anything else you wanted to bring up or touch on or just tell the community about?
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to share my thoughts regarding open source and Rasa in specific is that so it has played a huge role towards my leap of faith into the field of conversational AI. As a fresher graduate with near zero Python and AI knowledge and with a mechanical engineer expertise,
Mm.
Rasa has helped me with all the code base, and even the Rasa team have helped me a lot in terms of whether it be my first contribution or helping me to set up meetups or the community chapter, or guiding me all through long. So the Rasa team has also been very helpful to me in that regard. And because I am following closely on the work done by Rasa and its wonderful team, the way the tech is changing and evolving daily by the Rasa and by the Rasa team, and also the other conversational AI technologies around. So yeah, so I'm very grateful to have met Rasa as a team and a product, because I'm imbibing some of the personal and architectural traits from there. So yeah, I just wanted to share my gratitude, and on behalf of the Chennai chapter community members and also on behalf of myself, thank you to the entire Rasa team and the entire Rasa community for being always helpful and for being guidance and mentoring us throughout in the conversational AI journey.
Well, thank you, Vishnu. And we feel equally lucky to have you, and, contributing so much to the community and helping other people on their journeys. So, well, I can put down my coffee. All right.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine.
Oh, of course. It was lovely having you as part of the community. Well, continuing to have you as part of the community, but also specifically having you on the podcast today. So thanks so much for joining me. And stay tuned for the next thing that happens in the podcast, which is I Thank Contributors. Thanks so much for joining us today for Raza Chats. And I just want to give a shout out to our new contributors. So for their code contributions, Apruva Misra, Narendra Dubey, Martha Dante Silva, and Nathan Chappelle, thank you so much. And for their support contributions, Rohit Singh, Sazad Sarkar, Rachit Bedi, Brad Barnes, and Mehdi Haji. Thank you all so much for becoming Raza contributors. We are delighted to have you on board. And if you're interested in contributing yourself, check out the Raza GitHub. We have an issues board that's specifically for people who are interested in getting involved for the first time. Thanks so much for joining me today. Also, if you're one of those people and I mispronounced your name, please let me know and I will correct it in the next podcast I do. Thanks so much. Have a great day and we'll talk to you later. Bye.